So you already know me and my murals. So we got this one right here, California Dreaming. You know, it is what it is. And little dude get his little photo op in with the bikes. That's what it's all about, though. So check it out, man. You already know if you got any murals in your city, in your town, man, holla at your boy, man. I'm coming through and get that snapshot, get that photo op. You know what I mean? And I tell you what, man, I even take you out for lunch. How about that? California Dreaming.
Y'all make sure y'all check out the Retro Philosophy Show on YouTube with my man Retro. Like, subscribe, comment, share, copy the link, put it on Instagram in your bio, put it on your Facebook page. Send it to your mama, text it to somebody. But y'all make sure y'all follow this page, Retro Philosophy.
Community that we have to take care of. We have kids that are depending on us. I call them my scholars, I call them my future leaders because that's what they are. And I let them know, don't forget about where you were raised, be proud of where you come from and give back. It seems more family in Riverview Gardens. It would just be wonderful to get some people to get some of those jobs and help us get these scholars where they need to be. There's a new view on the horizon where learning is required.
Several people in my family had cancer, and a few of them had colon cancer, but they didn't talk about it, so I didn't know about it. It was a hush-hush thing for some reason. I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. I was 43 years old at the time. The silence stops here. Men in general don't want to go to the doctor. Black men don't want to go to the doctor. But if you understand that if you just go get checked, then you might be able to get in front of it. I just want people to understand that colon cancer is detectable, is treatable, and is beatable. And early detection is key. At the first chemo treatment, me and my wife was talking, and I was just so determined to beat this. I'm an avid motorcycle rider. We started a Facebook page called Beat Cancer Then Ride. We vlogged every 2 weeks on what was going on. We pretty much videoed the trip to the doctor's office, because when it happens to you, you feel really alone. I don't have a fear of dying, but I didn't want to leave her. That was my biggest drive, to be cancer-free for her and for my boys. I've been really fortunate to be able to beat cancer and ride my motorcycle, and she rides with me.
Yes, indeed. What's up, everybody, including Lottie Dottie? It's your boy Retro with you on tonight. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Look, man, I hope you guys can hear me real well, man. I need for you to do me a favor. Hit the share button. Hit the share button. We've got no fancy dancy little thingamajiggies in the background for you on tonight. But we just had to get on with the show because we got the one and only. Look at him, man. If you don't know who Icy is, man, you living in a cold, cold world, man. If you don't know who Icy is, man, then we gotta let you know who Icy is, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, we're talking tonight with the one and only Icy, Miss Tiffany, to some, Dr. Tiffany to others, and we'll tell you the rest about that here in just a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's make some proper noise for the one and only Tiffany, aka Icy, in the building. Tiffany, welcome to the Retro Philosophy Show. How are you doing on tonight?
I'm doing great, doing great.
Oh man,
Happy Freedom Day, Juneteenth, whatever you want to say.
yeah, all that good stuff, man. Ain't God good?
Yes, yes, all the
God
time.
is good all the time, and all the time He's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany is no stranger to the Retro Philosophy Show. Um, uh, so, Tiffany, we got a chance to meet. It's been a few years now. We met, and I have been grateful to make your acquaintance. I have a thing that I say, it's one thing when people's paths cross, but it's another thing when their paths align. Sometimes you can cross paths with people, and that's it. But when your paths align, then you realize, it's for a reason, by purpose, and by design. Talk to me for a little bit on tonight.
Oh God, you just said a mouthful. I truly believe in that because I don't, I guess, take too easily to folks sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I do believe that you meet people for a reason, and there's different things that decides who stays, who goes, and how you interact with those folks. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll share this. I didn't share this last time you were on the show, and so for you guys who do not know, I used to ride with a group prior to Kingdom Alignment, and I was riding my motorcycle. I try to act like I'm cool when I'm riding. At least I think I am. And so I got a text from, at that time, my president, and it was a picture of me. And I was like, "Who took that picture?" And so I later found out that there was a young lady by the name of Icy who saw some dude on his bike thinking he was cool, and snapped a picture. So
In my town.
in your town. So who this dude in my town acting like he trying to represent?
Oh God.
Oh man, I tell you, life is something else, man. We want to welcome Linda Nichols, Shaquise to the building, Beverly Gray, Janice Turner. What's going on? She's at NC's finest in the house. So,
Yes.
so tell us a little bit about this young lady named Icy. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, so uh, shout out to NC's Finest. Thank you, ladies, for joining. Those are my peeps tuning in.
Yeah,
We are celebrating 18 years this year of sisterhood, riding,
nice.
you name it, we've done it. um, and our sisterhood, above all, is still intact. So I'm very, very proud to say that, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I get a lot of joy, comfort, peace, support from these ladies, and I always have. So, um, shout out to them first of all. Um, it's been a long road, being a leader, trying to be a good leader, trying to be an effective leader.
Uh-huh.
Life happens, and we just have to kind of figure out how we're going to adjust to it. Whether we're going to let it beat us down, whether we're going to give up. Um, you know, I say this wholeheartedly. I think sometimes we as women, Black women, or
Mm-hmm.
African American women, lady bikers, I think we already have a lot of things that can beat us down in life. And
Okay.
sometimes we don't adjust or adapt to those changes very well. We've seen a lot of clubs come and go over those 18 years. And it's kind of sad to say, but we just don't adjust sometimes. And I think part of us that are leaders or seen in a leadership capacity, it's up to us to support our members,
Mm-hmm.
people we meet along the way, not only in our clubs, but other clubs, to help them, you know, support them, nurture them, however you want to say it. I
Right.
think that's what's definitely lacking, especially for the female biker.
Okay. Let me ask you a couple questions if I can interrupt you, Icy.
Okay.
There's a couple words that you mentioned earlier. I want to go back and elaborate on, get your view on it. First, I want to say shout out to Kodak. He said 18 years ain't nothing to sneeze at, and that's real talk. That's real talk. Not only 18 years in the game, Tiffany, and we'll talk about this in a little while too. But 18 years in the game, and your name's still clean. 18 years in the game, and your club, because y'all not a social club, but your NC's finest, can still rep such a name as NC's finest. Now, sisterhood. What is sisterhood?
Oh, it's a lot of things. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've been through childbirth. We've been through raising our kids. Not me personally, but marriages, divorces, deaths. Um, we've been through it all. The good and the bad, and being able to still support one another. Not um, kicking out or isolating that sister that's going through a rough patch. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
deals with things different. It may take us reaching out. Yeah, we may have our events or whatever we're doing, meetings or whatever, but if we don't see you, we're coming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not enough for us to just say, oh well, you just have to meet people where they are.
Absolutely.
Because there's no manual to life. There's no manual for any of this. We were fortunate. We did get some really good guidance. We had an OMC here in our town when we wanted to get started. We've done the hangarounds. We've done. I wish I could find it. We had the membership cards to the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
We really came in at a time where there was an emphasis on learning the set, learning what we were setting out to do, learning, not just trying to be a club. It was probably 3 or 4 years before we even thought about forming a club. We really were fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And being a female club, we really had some good guidance without, for the most part, people trying to take advantage of us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where your leadership comes in, not, staying true to your task at hand. We're ladies first. If I could say one thing to ladies, please keep it classy. It's just so much out there that's against us. Keep it classy. I don't care what it is. Keep it classy. You're a lady first. We're mothers. Our children, daughters are watching. We're professionals. Um, so just keep it classy. There's just too much else out there that can give us a bad image, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
need this bike life that we love. We don't need to have that contribute to negativity. So image is
But I,
really important.
but I see if they do something that could potentially compromise their integrity, but yet still it gained them props on the set, isn't that more important?
Can I can I cuss? Absolutely, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
Okay.
not. And it may take pulling that person to the side at an event.
Okay.
I'm no stranger to that, unfortunately, but don't be afraid to lose people. You know,
Okay.
we started out kind of big because we were kind of, there was no one else in our area, but to after 18 years to still have 5 founding members, I'll take that any day over the numbers that we once had. So
Okay.
you know you you
So
know
as they say, quality over quantity.
absolutely, 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 yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you got 18 years in the game. When Tiffany became Icy, did anything about Tiffany change?
No, and actually, I was given that name, believe it or
Okay.
not. Um, and over the years, I've really kind of wondered and come to understand why I was given that name for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, positive. Um,
Okay.
well, all positive, but and what that means to me is just being strong, um, clarity. You got to be clear in what you're doing. What are you trying to do? Um, Flexible.
Yeah.
I've always been those things. And when I sit back and kind of reflect over the years, that name, it truly does suit me in a lot of ways. Um, not afraid of a challenge. Um, a lot of how I react is based on the environment, just like ice. You know, uh, never goes away, but it's able to change.
Mm.
And adapt. So a lot of those qualities as a person, a mother, professional, it's pretty similar. Um, I can truly say with me, what you see is what you get. I just don't do the flip flop.
Right, 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 right.
I'm solid, as they say. That's the word I'm looking for. Solid. I hear that a lot. I hear that word thrown around a lot.
Yeah. So when you hear that word, what comes to mind?
Oh goodness. Well, I look at my definition of it. Solid.
Okay.
Do you walk the walk? Do you do what you say you're gonna do? Does your words mean anything? Not only just words. What are you doing? What do your actions look like?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's got to be consistent. You got to have some morals, decency about you. We got to have some. Uh, you know, I've seen people call themselves solid and they're not even a decent human.
Mm.
To me that's pretty basic, but and I'm no judge, but uh, I think that's a sometimes that's a misused word.
So can one be solid and not dependable?
No,
No.
I think so.
Okay. We want to give a shout out to Tiffany Renee. She's watching with us on tonight. God bless you, woman of God. Hope all is well with you and yours. And anybody else that's tuning in, we have Icy with us on tonight. We're talking, taking it to the next level. And currently, we're talking about being solid. And so you cannot be solid if you are not dependable. The Bible talks about building your house on a firm foundation because if it's not a firm foundation, then it's not solid. And if it's not solid, nothing can really be built on it. Let me ask you this. At what point was it that you realized that what you was doing was something to be taken serious and a need for it to be solid? And when I say what you're doing, I'm talking specifically NC's finest. For now, we'll go on to some other things later.
Well, as we got a little bit, as we started to branch out to different areas outside of our
Hmm.
own set, and there's genuine people that want genuine relationships, and when they started to ask us or inquire, what are you guys
Hmm.
about? Are you just another female club that does whatever, or
Hmm.
what are you about? What have you done? Do you work in your community? Um, you know, are you more consumed with partying, or are you what are you about? So that was eye opening at times.
Hmm.
Because if you would admit anybody, we weren't up to par in some areas, and it takes maturity to be able to take that hopefully constructive information and you go back and you fix it. Um, and sometimes we get we get our feelings hurt,
Hmm.
and we're just not open to learning and transforming and changing. We want to just do things like we've always done because we were able to get by in our area, maybe, you know. Um, but that's not always the best way, get the information, continue to learn. I'm
Hmm.
by profession, I'm a registered nurse and educator and all that. And my belief is that learning never stops. When you stop learning, you did. That's just my philosophy on that. So this is no different. Um,
Yeah.
and also for me, um, when like I said, things happen in your club, and we tend to be siloed in our own club. We don't branch out. We don't attend other events. We don't just join in on group rides. We don't ride by ourselves. You know,
Hmm.
uh, but for me, it was those things that allowed me to, of course, meet other people like, you and a lot of other people, that I know have shared the road with. This is not just talk. We don't just talk on the phone. I've actually
Right.
been shared the road with a lot of guys. Because let's face it, there's different levels to riding. Some of your members, they maybe can't go on a specific ride, or they maybe
Right.
don't do well out of state, or whatever the case is. I'm not beating up on anybody,
Right.
but that didn't stop me because I saw it as an opportunity to go out and bring things back to my club. Hey, this
Mm-hmm.
is what they're doing. We need to try this, or this is how the bike life is changing, or hey, so uh, I looked at it more as an opportunity rather than kind of saying, oh well, I don't want to be with NC's Finest no more. I'm gonna go join this club because they do all the things that I like.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of that too, which leads to club hopping, which that's a whole nother show, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. So, hey, you let the cat out the bag. So let me ask you this: what are some of the things that lead to such activity, club hopping, in your
Uh,
humble opinion?
Maturity. A lot of
Maturity.
times, yeah, a lot of times people can't have a decent conversation. They can't go to that sister and say, hey, this is not in our bylaws. This is not who we said we are. We need for you to
Mm-hmm.
tighten up on this. It's not always threatening. You don't always have to threaten a person. Well, if you don't do this, we're going to take your calls. But hey, how can we make this better? How
Yeah.
can you become a better person? Because at the end of the day, the individuals are what make up the club.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get yourself to a place where you're willing to be positive, be willing to learn, be willing to contribute instead of take.
Mm.
There's just a lot of things, and you can't tap your sister and say, hey, girl, we need to talk about this, or hey, sis, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's a co-ed club, hey, bro,
Yeah.
we're not co-ed, but
I,
you
I,
know,
I, if
not
I
holding
could,
everybody, not being able to hold each other accountable. Um,
okay.
you can't be my sister. You can't call yourself my family. You can't call yourself my partner. None of that if we can't hold each other accountable because nobody's perfect.
So if I see Tiffany do something that's out of pocket, and I'm your brother, I should be able to come to you and say, "Hey, Tiffany, I see what you did. Yo, that ain't kosher."
Should be. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. I do agree. I do agree. We live in a day and age now where people are easily offended.
Yep.
Talk to me about offense.
Whew. Just to be honest, I think we live in a society, and I see this everywhere, of
Hmm.
entitlement,
Okay.
and people don't want to be told they can't do something. They don't
Hmm.
care if the reason is foul. They don't care if it's a negative reason. They don't want to be told they couldn't or shouldn't do something. They feel like I can do what I want to. You can, but there's always consequences and
Hmm. Hmm.
repercussions. That's the
Yeah.
part they kind of miss. Um, yes, we got to be able to hold each other accountable.
And you know what, Tiffany? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really wouldn't want it any other way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you gonna rock with me and I'm gonna rock with you, I don't want you to just watch me going down, a slippery slope. Call me out, let me know, and it's just it's in the words of Mike Tyson, it's ludicrous.
Yeah. Well, people think. I mean, that's that entitlement.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, people feel entitled.
So you mentioned earlier when you guys were getting started, NC's Finance was getting started, it was a different time. It was a different, and I think when you said different time, you were referring to like a different era. Is that correct? What do you mean when you say it was a different time?
I'm gonna say there was a different level of respect for the culture, for the set, if you will.
Okay. Okay.
No way we would have thought of starting a club overnight. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that just mind blowing. That was just unheard of.
Right.
You decide, okay, I'm gonna start a club because I'm mad at my uh, president, and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to keep your property, and I'm going to take what you have built
Mm-hmm.
and use it for my new club without giving any proper due or proper respect.
Right.
To me, I mean, that was unheard of. We really didn't, you know, we really didn't um, experience a lot of that. But I will say this: um, we rode our bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Coming and because honestly, because we loved it. We or love it. I'm talking past tense because we're talking about before, but
Right.
you just ride your bike. You wouldn't believe um, that just takes away all of that fluff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just to be honest, and like I said, it doesn't bother me to get on my bike and just go about anywhere I want to go. You
Right.
know, and especially if it's a club or event or something that has always shown us respect and just um but I still get asked sometimes, oh, you still riding? Well, I don't even know how to answer that. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Well, I don't, first of all, I don't ride to be seen, but most of the time it's the person that has kind of been out of touch themselves. It's really, I don't take it personal. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I just do different things,
Okay.
and don't always, very rare. Don't expect to see me at a whole lot of partying. Now I've
Okay.
done my share. I still will do a nice annual or whatever, but that just ain't my thing, you know. Um, so that's another thing, well, where are you at that you're not seeing what's going on? So it just depends. It's just so different. But for the most part,
Uh-huh.
women, ride your bike, keep it classy, carry yourself in a manner. This is another part of the ice, I think. Carry yourself in a manner you carry yourself in a certain way, you can really filter out a lot of the BS. You really can. So I would rather be that way than not, than to feel like folks can just kind of approach with any old kind of mess. So,
That part
but
right there.
you know, it is what it is.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Bike life. Talk to me about bike life.
uh, I still love it.
Okay.
I still love it. We still.
Who that back there? Who that back there?
That is Mandingo.
Mandingo. So can a man or a woman actually own a motorcycle without a name?
I've never had one without a name. I mean,
uh,
it just kind of naturally flows. I mean, I think that's
okay.
kind of a fun thing about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it can kind of speak to your your personality a little bit. Not anything negative. But um, when I think about Mandingo, I think about strength, freedom. That kind of thing. So that's all I'll say about naming your bikes. But I've never
Okay,
had
okay.
one without a name. Uh,
Shakila Bussy is shouting you out there, Icy. She said back in 2020, you escorted her from Statesville to Greensboro. She was 2 hours late and you didn't even complain.
oh no. Huh. No, I just pulled up and
Yeah,
waited, ate, do what we do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to
Um,
Shakila Bussy in the building.
yeah. So you know, I love riding. It's
Hmm.
gotten me through. I will say this: it's gotten me through a whole lot of challenging times.
Okay.
Um, even more so now. I, I think I maybe share this, but my life as a whole, if I could sum it up in one word, I would say transition. I'm definitely in a season of transition, career wise. Um, I have a young man that I'm trying to get off to a good start in the world. You know, some of you may mimic that I have aging parents, you know, everything. I just started a new career after 26 years of
And we
nursing.
definitely want to talk about that. We definitely want to talk about that.
So this guy here has really gotten me through a lot of challenging times.
And that's Mr. Mandingo.
Yeah.
And how did you come about that name? Inquiring minds want to know, aka Mrs. Shelley McIver.
Well, again, I don't. I'm not a person that um, takes lightly to things that I associate myself with.
Hmm.
And again, to me, it speaks to strength. And, I safety definitely, because at the end of the day, when I leave out, I want to get back home safe.
Absolutely.
Um, you know, uh, of course, he looks good. Uh, so just comfortable. Just really I feel like made him my own. So that's what it means to me. Um, yeah.
All right. So Mr. Mandingo got you through, and I think we can say currently still gets you through different things.
Hmm.
Now, you are a licensed nurse. You've been doing that. That's been your profession for how many years?
This year's 26 years.
26 years. All
Hmm.
right. So you've done that. So you have a passion for that. I think you probably diagnose people and situations in your sleep. Um, and
Nurses
you
assess. We don't diagnose. Nurses
okay, okay,
assess.
okay. Assess. Okay, okay. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it
Okay.
right. And I appreciate you because, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have a group or a business or whatever, what we did, Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, when we go out, we want to make sure everybody's safe, and you can always plan for situations that will present themselves. So we had Icy to come out. And she schooled us on different scenarios that could arise, and if they did, how to handle them, and things like that. And she did an excellent job. Thanks again, Icy, for doing that for us.
You're welcome.
Um, and so after 26 years, you decided to kind of make some changes, do a little bit of things different.
Yes, yes. Because I honestly, I'm starting to look toward retirement. When my son gets through college or whatever. Um, moving into my next phase of life, and I started being a nurse entrepreneur. I have a couple of nursing businesses in 2018, so I do
Hmm.
that. But nursing is hard,
Okay.
and it's if you know anybody in nursing, we've the profession as a whole has taken a real beating over
Mm,
the last few years.
hmm.
For through COVID, through nurses being disciplined, sometimes unfairly,
Hmm.
sometimes it's stuff that they shouldn't have been doing. But as a whole, nursing has taken a beating,
Hmm.
and um, it's hard work, and you know to avoid total burnout, because I know nurses that has totally left the profession. They don't do it
Yeah.
at all. And for me, that was a way to still maintain, because I really do care for people. That is truly my passion. I really care for people. And I'm thinking, well, how can I use that? 'Cause I went to school, got all these degrees. I
Hmm.
have a master's degree in nursing. So I'm like, okay, should I really totally abandon all of that? So what I came up with was real estate.
Okay. Okay.
So I've done some rentals and stuff over the past year. I really like that business. Want to do more with it, and a couple of people's opinions that I value dearly.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of one of those things that kept coming to my vision,
Right.
like nursing back in the day, and they flat out told me, and this was one of these moments where I had to kind of say, okay, I need to listen. they flat out told me you need to go to real estate school.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people can see things in you, and we have to. It is no different from the club. Sometimes people can see things in you, and sometimes we just have to be able to listen, be
Mm-hmm.
flexible, and at least consider what they're saying.
Right.
So, I had the opportunity to go. Started it last August, and so I got my North Carolina broker's license in
Good for you.
February.
Good for you.
So I am a new Keller Williams realtor. So ready to care, just in a different way.
There you
I
go.
still care for people. It's just in a different way. And one thing I always say to anybody, whether it's being a bike club member, a mother, a student, a professional, always add some value to yourself.
Mm.
As again, I'm gonna get back on my African American Black women. We have sometimes we have to do a lot more to get to certain statuses or to where we
Mm-hmm.
want to be in some cases. So continue to add value. My thing is add value in a way that it's something that no one can take away from you. No one can
Mm-hmm.
take your knowledge. No one can take your brain. Um, no one can take your heart. No one can take your
Mm-hmm.
passion for giving. These are things that no one can take away. Being a decent person, nobody can take that away from you.
Right.
Um, and that when I do something, I'm adding that kind of value. How can I care? How can I use all of this nursing knowledge, this caring?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, there's all kinds of people that need housing solutions. So
Right.
uh, you better believe I'm gonna figure it out.
I know that's right. And we've been through the process a few times, and for me, one of the things I see that's important is to be able to trust your realtor. I mean, anybody can sell a home, but because you mentioned as a nurse, you care for people. That's your passion. So you're continuing to care for people just in a different aspect. Talk to me about taking it to the next level. What does taking it to the next level mean?
um, Professionally, don't be afraid to be an entrepreneur. That was
Mm-hmm.
something that no school that I've ever went to taught me how to be an entrepreneur. They teach
Mm-hmm.
us how to be employees.
Right.
No more of that.
Right.
As if I could tell any new nurse that anything, I wouldn't say don't come into the profession, but what I would say is see how you can turn that into a business for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether if we're related it to um, a bike club, don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. Crossing state lines, as some people refer to it, networking. Um, let's face it, there can be some overlap because there has been several events that I've been at, and I made a post on this I think a year or so ago, where I'm just kind of vibing and enjoying the event, and somebody's tapping me saying, "Hey, I think they need you outside," and it was somebody having medical crisis.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
happened to me a number of
Mm-hmm.
times. Um, so had I not carried myself in a way that exuded caring or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they probably wouldn't have gave me a second thought. You know,
Right.
um, if it's motherhood, uh, for those of you that have children, I have a male child. So definitely learning um, that this is a whole nother person and this is a male, you know,
Mm-hmm.
mothering, nurturing in some cases only takes you so far.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll say it goes a long way, but you have to do it differently, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You're talking about a young black man, and let me just say it like this. I tell people all the time, raising kids, it happens in phases and stages. And if you continue to try to raise your young man the way you did your adolescent, you're either setting yourself up for problems, him up for problems, or both of y'all up for problems, you know. And so at some point, you know, our parenting has to go to the next
The
level.
next level. Yes. Yep. Yep.
We talked about Mandingo, Icy. But before Mandingo, I know you had a street glide before your road glide, but before your road glide, you had a crotch rocket,
I had
right?
two.
Okay, all right. So let's go there for a second, and I'll try to tie this all back in. So you're on your crotch rocket. Why did you buy a crotch rocket?
Ooh, I wanted to go fast.
Okay, you wanted to go fast. Hey,
Yes.
good enough, you know. Um, and were you wanting to go fast because everybody else was going fast, or you just had a need for speed?
I think a little bit of both, but
A little bit of both. Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to go fast, and I wanted to uh, match my bike from head to toe, you
Yes,
know.
ma'am. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
and so, you know, that, ooh, that was a wild time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not here to judge anybody. But the fact of the matter is, I say this as it relates to spiritual things. Every sinner has a future, and every saint has a past, right? And so we talk about wild times. You know, we all went through that phase of life where we, participated in wild things and stuff like that. However, when you know better, you do better, right? And I could imagine you, like many other people, when you were on that crotch rocket, you said, I'd never ride one of those old man bikes.
Ooh, I said it. I said it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So at what point was it for you, you knew it was time to take it to the next level?
Well, age.
Okay,
You know, again,
okay,
I've been a nurse since I was 21 years old, and I think I brought my first cruiser when I was approaching 40.
okay,
So,
okay.
you know, there's a lot of years of very strenuous work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, when you get older, your body starts to tell you certain things.
True.
And I think trends, there's just like anywhere else, there's trends within the bike community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and the trend is everybody was getting a cruiser. You know, when we start figuring out, hey, we could get a bike with a radio on it. Now that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Um,
So there are certain trends because you mentioned it was kind of a trend at that time that everybody was starting to transition into the
mhm,
cruisers.
mhm,
However, not only was it a trend, but it was an aging thing. You know, I mean,
mhm,
because at that time you was amongst people that was of that same age group. So it was a trend, but not really a trend because you guys were taking it to the next level because of comfort reasons, I'm sure.
mhm,
Now the desire to get beyond just, bike week and, the
mhm.
local bike night, but, because as we get older, even our desires for certain things changes, which brings me to this question. And I probably shouldn't ask this because some people might consider it messy. But what's your opinion without getting real personal when you see someone of a certain age still doing what they did when they were back during the wild time?
Ooh.
What's your take on that?
Again, it goes back to maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if it's somebody that I'm comfortable with, you know, I may say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my take on it is you know, when you go through phases in life, you know, for whatever reason, if you're going through a certain phase, at times as people, we can feel like we've missed out on things,
Okay.
you know. And when I see a person that's kind of out of character for their age or whatever, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like at some point in their life, they feel like they missed out on something. I'm going to compare it to a person that, you know, God forbid, maybe was incarcerated at a, let's just say at age 18.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get out, let's just say they're in their 30s when they get out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like they're arrested in that time period when they were 18 years old. They feel like they have missed out on something. So they
Yeah.
feel like they've got to go back and, I guess, live those years. This can happen through something traumatic that kind of stops you in your tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be anything catastrophic. Like I said, life happens. We could be
Yeah, it
sick.
does.
We could go a period of time where we can't ride because we're sick, or we may have to stop riding as much to take care of our elderly parents. Um, Maybe we're going through a depression. Usually there's something that has happened that has made that person feel like they've missed out on something. So
Mm-hmm.
again, that goes back to the brother and sisterhood. Say, hey, what's going on? I see you kind of doing this. That just seems a little out of character for you. Can you explain to me why you feel the need to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not only jumping their bones about it, see where they are. They may have a valid reason, and then you can start to correct the behavior by explaining or talking or helping them through that rough patch. Because a lot of times, a talk or giving them some time, they may say, well, hey, you're right. Nobody's doing that anymore. Or I'm really not acting my age. Or I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't miss out on this. Um, so I think there's something within that person. But again, I feel like that's where sometimes we are lacking as brothers and sisters. I mean, at least that's what we call ourselves. We're,
Right.
we're quick. We're quick to expose that person. Um, God, that's a whole nother topic too. We're quick to expose that person and their shortcomings instead of meeting them where they are and helping them through that
Man, you
rough
just said
patch.
a mouthful right there. God Almighty. There's an old adage, it takes a village to raise a child. Do you think that the bike set or the motorcycle community still embraces that philosophy?
Mm, sometimes we don't.
Sometimes we don't.
No,
Yeah.
there's a saying in nursing is that we eat our young, and that is
Mm,
true. And
yeah.
that's a pet peeve of mine. Being a nurse educator, I'm quick to correct a seasoned nurse, as we call it. Say,
Yeah.
well, hey, we didn't always know. How do you think we learned? Same thing with the bike
Right.
community. You know, People come into this life at different phases.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have had a local OMC that
Right.
took them under their wing, or they may have had one that was full of what
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that didn't embrace the idea of educating. You know, I,
Mm-hmm.
this was probably one of the biggest pet peeves of mine when we were becoming a club years ago. Is I felt like there was a lot of clubs or um, people that had been in the life that were stingy with the knowledge. It's like they
Yeah.
didn't want to share it, I don't still don't understand that. It's like instead of saying, "Yeah, come on, let's teach you the right way," and instead they wanted to keep you out of the loops to have something to kind of dangle over you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Why do you
uh,
think that is?
a means of needing to control.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and that was kind of our experience a little bit. But again, we were fortunate that we did have an OMC that was very um, willing to educate us and provide that knowledge.
Yeah.
And me being the person that I am, I wasn't afraid to go out and seek it
That part. That
because I
part.
wanted us to be respected because we were ladies. I wanted us to be valid. Um, you know, relevant, however you want to say
Mm-hmm.
it, all of that. Because you know, I take a lot of pride in things that I attach my name, my time, and energy.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Um, you said something earlier. I want to touch back on that for a moment. You talked about you know, quality versus quantity. Now, there's a story in the Bible about a man by the name of Gideon. He had over 3,000 soldiers in his army. God says, look, Gideon, I want you to take it to the next level. I want you to go out and I want you to win this battle on my behalf. He says, but you got too many, So he says, tell all those that are fearful and afraid to go home. He lost over half his army. And then God said, you still got too many. And so the point that I want to hear your opinion on is this. Sometimes in order to take it to the next level, you've got to cut back. And sometimes God will subtract in order to multiply. Talk to me about going from one level to the next level and losing some things that you thought you needed. Have you experienced anything like that in this thing called life?
Woo. Everybody that come with you can't go with you, but
Mm, girl, you
yes.
preaching my sermon right there.
So, yes, it's all about first you have to really be in tune to yourself. You know,
Mm,
if you
very
don't know
important.
yourself, you don't know what you need.
Mm,
You find yourself grabbing on to things that you don't need. It might just be in a pretty box or a pretty wrapper or whatever. Um, but it truly takes some self reflection, which we don't want to do. It's painful.
and why
It's
is
a
that?
Well, nobody wants to. No person, me included,
Hmm.
wants to admit that we don't sometimes have all of our, together.
Yeah.
I didn't do. I'm not good at that. I'm not so good at that, or this is where I'm lacking. We don't like that. Growth is a painful thing. And if we
Hmm.
don't first do that, we can't go to the next level. I think a
Right.
lot of people have the capability, they have the qualities, they have the resources, they have all of that, but they can't do it because um, they're in their own way.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Okay.
so, so that's the first piece of taking it to the next level. Um, and another thing, being a leader, you have to be able to tap into the strengths of the people around you. It I feel like some of my best leading um, is done from the back. You
Okay.
know, not saying a whole lot. There's a lot of power in being unspoken at times. Um, but it takes a lot of courage to do that because sometimes you know how something's going to end up and you can see it, but
Hmm.
you have to just kind of step back and just let it kind of play out.
Yeah.
It takes a strong leader, um, and it takes having faith in your members.
There you go. I
Um,
was gonna ask you that, but you answered it. You top notch, girl. You top notch.
yeah, you got to have faith in your members. I know every member in my club. I know what their strengths are,
That's good.
and they may laugh at this, but it, it's been a lot of years where and I took it as a form of respect. I didn't take it negatively, but they would say, well, hey, can we do this, should we do this? Like, yeah, sure, get it together and then I'll
Yeah,
tell me what
yeah,
I need to do.
yeah.
It's not my idea. It's I don't have to be the yes no person all the time. That
Right.
is very time consuming. That is very exhausting, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
fair.
Right.
Because having capable members, that's a beautiful thing. And honestly, that's probably one of my greatest lessons, um, was letting them do what they are good at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even sometimes better than myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So it's still giving, it's still leading, but do your thing. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this not my idea. My name don't have to go on every flyer. You know what you know. So the strength of your members and tapping into those strengths, that is very necessary to get to the next level. Um, Being willing to go out and bring new things and experiences into
Hmm.
your club, organization, whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be a
Right.
club.
Right. That is so good. There are so many people who miss the opportunity to take it to the next level. And I'll just say it like this because of offense. I had a gentleman tell me years ago, and I mentioned this quite a bit because it was so impactful in my life. And I was a young brother. I was probably in my early 20s. And and I thought I knew a few things, and I did, you know. So he says to me, he says, forget what he says, young, I never forget. He said, young man, forget what you think you know and learn what you don't. And I never forget it. It stopped me in my tracks. And I didn't know if I should have been offended or, but at that moment, it just, it was so powerful, you know, and I learned not only from that, that sometimes things that were offensive don't have to offend. It all depends on where you stand and how you perceive it, you know. But anyway, some people will never make it to the next level because they're so stuck on what they know.
Yeah, yeah. And some people just want to be offended. To that's kind of an excuse sometimes. It's an excuse not to go beyond your comfort zone. If I'm
Hmm.
offended, I don't have to do it.
Right.
I'm gonna be offended, so nobody will bother me about doing it. You know,
Hmm.
uh, it's just a means of not progressing. Self reflection is it's a hard thing, and
Yeah.
people just don't want to do what they don't want to do the work sometimes. We get out here. We can do all this physical work, and we can have the
Hmm.
perfect setup. But if we're not willing to work on ourselves, we just not.
It's wasting time. I grew up in a time, I see, the same era you did. We about the same age. We in the we in the same age bracket, you know. We ain't got to tell them what it is,
Right.
but but we grew up in a time, and me specifically, where there was no shortage of what would become OGs. They weren't running around trying to be OGs. They were just OGs, and I love it because I asked Kodak, the ground pounder, this question. I said, "What is an OG?" And Kodak, without hesitation, said an OG stands for offer guidance. I said, "Wow!" I think that was the first time I heard it like that. But as I look back in retrospect, see what I did there? As I look back in retrospect, I realized that a lot of those brothers were doing just that. They were offering guidance, and there were times where, they would say, "Hey, come here, little homie. Let me holler at you," and they would straighten me out. And we would sit there and we would take the straightening out, but it allowed us to maneuver through this thing called life. And there were many a times where I was stuck in between places where I didn't have answers, but I could pull from some of the previous wisdom that was given to me down through those years.
Hmm.
Um, but I find that nowadays, and some might say I'm being messy, but that's okay. There are some folks who are OGs from a different perspective, just old and goofy.
Oh, God.
Just old, goofy, and they're not offering guidance. Uh, they're blocking. I'll leave it alone. Um, so how do you deal with situations like that? Or I should say, have you experienced any of that as you were coming up as a young president?
I definitely did. And I get it. I've heard a lot that motorcycling it's a man's world. I get it. To some degree. I think some of it was that was a barrier. And fast forward, pressed through that, got the knowledge, elsewhere. I've also had some of those people kind of circle back with a
Mm,
different level of respect. Um, and I can fairly say that because on our set, which is the Charlotte, North Carolina set, that's the one we most identify with.
mm-hmm.
Over the years, there's been a lot of accolades that I've received, that my club has received as leaders, um, you know, and it's kind of funny, some of the people that were not so willing to share, um, maybe years down the road, but you'll get someone new coming onto the set and they'll say, well, hey, such and such said you would be a good person to talk to. So I'm like, oh, okay. So is
Mm-hmm.
that, so sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people, they don't really want to give you, they don't want to openly give you any props or what,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to say it. But, no, I didn't take offense to it. Sometimes it's just the male female thing. Sometimes it was just a person that just wasn't willing to share for whatever reason. Sometimes it's a
Right.
means of control, or they
Mm-hmm.
could have maybe not necessarily took me or us serious. But again, it kind of worked out to where, um, again, I've had a lot of clubs and folks approach me over here and say, well, hey, such and such said you are probably a good person to talk to, or what's your perspective on this. There's a lot of male club presidents over the years that I, been able to sit down and chop it up with.
Mm-hmm.
No problem with me. I'm still going to carry myself the same. And those truly are my brothers. So I think there's a lot to be said about just doing what you're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
carrying yourself in a respectable manner. Ladies, please, please, please do that. Carry
Yeah.
yourself in a respectable manner. Ride your bike, ride your bike, ride your bike. Um, you know, help where you can. You know, um, if you see um, a person that maybe, you know, sometimes acknowledging, another
Mm-hmm.
president, you may say, well, hey, I noticed you got some new members, how's it going? Any challenges? Offer yourself sometimes. Don't
Nice.
always don't always wait on a person to come to you. You know, um, yeah, they're prospects. I get it. I get it. I get it. They're prospects or whatever, but it still takes nothing. Does it cost you anything? And it does not diminish your standing at all to show that person some respect.
R-
I, you know, I don't deal too well with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just kind of putting them through the ringer just because you can. That makes no sense
Right.
because they're not learning anything. They're just focused on getting through that task for that day. They just
Right.
want to get
Right.
that day over with. They're not learning anything about the set. They're not paying attention. They just want to get that moment over with. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but we being seasoned presidents, so-called leaders, we see that, we recognize that, but a lot of times we don't say nothing. We just kind of let it slide. It's not our
Yeah.
club, not our business. So we think. But then you've got these people that are being released into our set, and we want to sit around and
Mm-hmm.
complain why things are like they are.
Yeah. Because if I'm out there and I'm acting a fool, and you see me, but you don't spit game, you don't offer guidance, and I go out there, I do something reckless, and it can still come back on you, even though you're not necessarily directly affiliated with my organization or whatever, but the average individual who's not a part of the bike set, when they see a cut, all they see is just a cut, and they just see everyone, as the same, I want to tie this into what you said earlier, maturity, as it related from going from cruisers, excuse me, from crotch rockets to cruisers. It was just a maturity thing. You just got a little bit older and things like that. When is it, or how is it that one knows it's time to take it to the next level?
Um, for me as well, I wanted to go outside of my city, state.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to, uh, I'm big on history, Black history.
Mm-hmm.
I love visiting historical sites. Um, and some of the places that I've been, there's no way I could do it on a sport bike. It's as simple as that because my
Right.
body won't let me.
Yeah.
Um, I think you receive different on the road. To me, in some cases, it can be a safety thing. My
Mm-hmm.
eyes is always open to safety. Um, and because when somebody in a car, when you see a crotch rocket, you're probably more on guard because you think that person's going to cut in from front of you, zoom past you, dart in and out of traffic. You, you just automatically think that. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
if I see you on a cruiser, you're cruising, you're enjoying, you're probably going somewhere, far off. You're listening to your music. You're more likely to have a passenger, you know. So to me, I think the mindset is different. First of all,
Okay.
um, now just to be honest, you're one of those people. We go fast sometimes, but
Who, me? Who, me?
we, but it's all
Yeah.
good though. But
Yeah. Yeah.
seriously, when we get on our cruisers, sometimes the mindset is different. We're not
Yeah.
in so much of a hurry. We're riding more for enjoyment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there is something about to be said about getting on your bike and just leaving, maybe crack of dawn before day in some cases, and you get somewhere. Now you've probably ridden 10, 12 hours, but you get there and you, instead of feeling tired, you
Yeah.
feel rejuvenated or you feel refreshed and you're ready to take on whatever wherever you're going. Um, and it's just something to be said about that feeling. You
Mm,
know,
that's good. That's good.
that's not going to happen on a sport bike. You know, but it's all in the evolution of being a biker and as a person
Yeah.
wanting different things out of life, wanting more out of this bike life. Um,
So, Tiffany, I want to wrap things up. A couple things. Number one, nurse, realtor. Um, Tiffany has not changed. Tiffany has evolved. Is there room for another level for Tiffany and NC's finest?
Absolutely. I'm not we're not going anywhere. I will say we are looking, um, what does longevity look like? You know,
Mm,
and honestly, I'm not going to quote everybody's ages, but our oldest member is getting close to 60, believe it or not.
okay, okay.
So that simple fact alone, there's got to be some sort of evolution or change in the way things are done or expectation.
Yeah, yeah,
I get that. Um, that is not a means of that person leaving the club if that's not what they want to do.
right.
Uh, let's figure out as sisters. Let's figure out how we can ride this thing on out. You know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we're not trying to leave. You know, we will definitely be more selective, more choosy. However, I will say for us, and we just kind of spent a week away together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a sense of rejuvenation because the main reason is because we are now, um, most of us are now empty nesters.
Okay, okay.
We've raised our kids to a certain degree, and that we're helping them through the into adulthood.
Right,
So we don't have babies at home anymore that we got to get home to and
right.
cut our riding short. And there's it's a whole different, or it should be, because I'm a mother first.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point.
yeah, but
Yeah.
and that in itself, leaves room for more evolution. So I'm excited about that. Have had some health challenges in our club. I'm just being totally transparent, where
Mm-hmm.
we had some folks that couldn't physically ride for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
years. Um, and again, seeing those things get better.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to some positive uh, positive rejuvenation.
Good. Okay. We've got a comment from Tony Hicks, beautiful friend of ours back in Springfield, Massachusetts. She said, "Hey Sheldon, my oldest just got her bike, scared, but her and her hubby are riding together." So two things. Number one, I'd like for you to give her as a mother some advice or some input, and then number two, hypothetically speaking, let's say that her daughter and husband were here in Statesville, North Kakalaki, and took interest in NC's finest with the room space or whatever for evolution or for NC's finest. How would you approach a young rider coming to be a part of NC's finest? So again, first let's go and offer mom some advice, some insight, and then answer the hypothetical part of the question.
Okay, mom, be a mom above all. Be a mom above all. Don't let any, you know, whatever guidance you want to give her, being her mom, just please do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for the young rider, safety class, if you have not already, safety class, safety class, safety class, if you have not, safety class,
Safety class.
safety class,
Safety class.
if you have not. And again, you know, come and hang out with NC Finest. See what we do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, see how it is for us. Learn your area. Um, learn us as people. Learn us as family members. Learn us as sisters. Uh, in some cases, I may, I don't may get a lot of flack for this, but riding, in some cases, it needs to be secondary until you get that base. Because just to
Okay.
be honest, you can ride. I've ridden with some of the best, but they
Mm-hmm.
were some trifling individuals.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so I don't want, if I can't trust you, I can't ride with you. I don't care how good your skills are. And that's what I mean by that.
Right, right,
I
right.
need to know that you're a decent person, that you're not going to leave me stranded, get us
Mm-hmm.
killed, that you're going to be able to take guidance, that you're not all out for self. So that's where I would start.
Okay. Tiffany, and I like to twist on that throttle, but I also like to say that there's a difference between speed and reckless riding. There's a difference, and sometimes it's a thin line. But one of the points I want to make is, especially if you're leading a pack, you're leading a group of riders. We did our first ride of the year, the Genesis ride, and at the time, one of our riders had a Yamaha 600, right? So as I was giving the spiel before we took off, I said, "Today we're all riding a Yamaha 600." We're not going to get out there and leave them behind because their
Mm-mm.
bike is too small. We're riding for that individual as well, and so Tony, it would be good. I think that if a new rider had the opportunity to ride with some people who were number one safe and more experienced, they could learn different rules of the road and different things like that. How important is it for you, Icy, to ride with different people from different times?
Whew, that's a challenge.
Hmm.
But it definitely helps your skill level.
Yeah,
Um, you can ride in a straight line at 70 miles an hour all day long by
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, but if can you lead in a pack? You know,
Hmm.
can you ride in the back in
Hmm.
a pack?
Hmm.
You know, can you be mindful of that rider next to you?
Right.
So, and honestly, I like a challenge. I like to um, learn different things. I like to Um, I mean, I just like to know more. I like to soak up knowledge, but you're never going to do that if you don't ever branch out. You know, if you're
Right.
always riding between this person and this person, you're not learning much. You
Mm.
know, um, and you need to be able to adjust your riding style. You know, a lot of times, if I am with my club, I'm toward the front, or just
Mm-hmm.
depending if it's a couple of us, you know. But if I'm riding with someone else, another club, I'm usually toward the back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So but it's still all learning to me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think I've done okay with y'all.
Oh yeah, you did good. You did good. You did good. You can ride with us anytime, girl. Anytime. You
But
know.
no,
And
it was a pleasure to ride with you guys. I definitely would do it again. I mean, it hasn't only been once, so
no, 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 no. It's been several times, man.
yeah,
For us, and I stress this to the team. Number one, if you leave with us, we coming back with you. Well, I just don't see it being any other way.
hmm
And then number two, when you have guests, my mama taught me this. You treat your guests well. You don't.
yeah,
Yeah, you treat your guests well, man. And so every now and then, yeah, I know you're back there. I know who's back there, and I know they might be comfortable at 70, but we're gonna try to stretch them a little bit because we're talking about taking it to the next level. And so every now and then I'll hit it, and but we definitely want to stay safe because at the end of the day, if I'm out there doing 90, you get a ticket, you might expect me to have to pay that ticket. So
yeah.
but it's all about
Lot of
safety.
fun though. No shade at all. A lot of fun
Yeah,
riding
yeah,
with
yeah,
y'all though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll be keeping you posted on some upcoming rides we're working on. And we went to Lake Lore last year. We're definitely gonna do it again this year. Another good ride is the triple nickel. Oh my goodness, you will enjoy that. You will enjoy that. It has a lot of sweeping curves and almost like a roller coaster ride going through Ohio. Really
Woo!
enjoyable ride. Lot of back roads. It's not like the Tail of the Dragon, but it's just as exhilarating, if you will.
You know I
But
still get car sick, right?
oh, do you? Okay, okay, okay. You'll be all right. Mandy gonna take care of you. He'll take care of you.
Woo!
And if you get sick, I know a nurse that know a few things.
Right.
Oh, Tiffany, it's always good having you on the show. And I think the first show we did, we talked about options, and that was a very, very good conversation. But any final remarks or advice or anything you want to share with the listening audience, Icy?
Uh, just be good to be good to each other, respect each other. It's just a rough time for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. Our
Yeah,
world is quite different.
yeah,
Ladies, stay classy, stay classy, stay classy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And
important.
there's a lot of ladies out there that's really, really doing a thing. Not only guys, but a lot of ladies out there doing their thing, and I'm really that gives me a lot of joy to see
Oh yeah,
ladies getting their just due. So,
yeah.
a lot of you, as myself, we like to kind of fly under the radar. Don't need a lot of, we just really want to enjoy it. But
Hmm.
I think they deserve some of the accolades that they are definitely getting. So, um,
That's good. So I
yeah,
guess we can say the ladies have taken it to a whole nother level.
yes, they
Yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Well,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The one and only Tiffany, aka Icy, in the building of NC's finest. 18 years and still got some more, something underneath their belt. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. And we just really appreciate who you are and who you guys represent. And yeah, just really do appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll be in touch with you soon, okay?
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the one and only Icy. Oh, Icy, she's such good people, man. Um, you know, and she's available. She's reachable, and she's just good people, man. So make sure you guys go and check her out if you have not already friended her. Do so. Hit up her Facebook page, and hold on, wait a minute. Let's get you back on for a quick second, girl. Somebody in the Statesville area, or they might be looking for a house. How can we can't let you go without you let them know how they can get in touch with you, girl? Man, what kind of host would I be, man? Come on now. So I need a house. I need a house. How can I get in touch with you to give me a house?
Okay, well, if you friend me on Facebook, I can
Hmm.
send you my app and information, but let me call out my website to you right quick, if I may.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh, let me find my call. And I am with Keller Williams Realty.
Okay.
Um, get to it. So you can email me at Tiffany, that's Tiffany, Nichols, Nichols, at kw.com. You can shoot me an email, and we'll start out by just kind of seeing where you are, what you're looking for, and we'll go from there.
That's what I am talking about right there. Ladies and gentlemen, the email is on your screen. It should be, there we go, Tiffany Nichols at kw.com. Look at that right there, man. Make sure you guys jot that down. And you might look at it. Let me tell you this. North Carolina is the place to be. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Check it out, man. I moved down here almost 20 years ago. I say y'all, I drink sweet tea and I eat Bojangles. So they ain't getting rid of me. I'm here to stay. And I'm telling you, NC, it's the place to be. It's a good place to be. So I say that to say this: you might be watching from another area, another region, and considering coming down here. You can email Tiffany, and she can do a search for you and help you find your next dream home. How about that?
Yeah, and we have connects all over. So, buying, selling,
Hmm.
whatever you, and I have, you know, colleagues in other states. So,
There you go.
um, all right.
So stay tuned for the commercial that will be coming to the Retro Philosophy Show. We trust me. Watch. So Tiffany, thank you, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. God bless you. Yeah. All right. Couldn't get out of here without putting that plug up there for my homegirl, man, because she's making strides, man, and she's taking things to the next level. And please understand, taking it to the next level, because some people like to say, "Well, I'm keeping it real." This is what I look at here, man. Don't keep it real stupid. If it's time to elevate, then it's time to elevate. There's nothing wrong with elevating. You owe no one an explanation if they don't get it. That's on them. Do what you got to do to take it to the next level. Because at the end of the day, it's all about you and your family. So we want to thank you for watching and tuning into the Retro Philosophy Show. We are constantly trying to take it to the next level. Every now and then we have some hiccups and some technical difficulties, but it's all good. We know what we got to do to work it out. I want to thank everybody for pressing play and joining the show on tonight. C1s is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. My man 53 grand, how you doing, sir? He says, yeah, I love North Carolina also. It's a good place to be, man, and I've enjoyed it. There's a few quirks, but you got to take the good with the bad. So again, we want to shout out everybody. NC's finest in the building. You guys continue to keep your ears peeled. You'll be hearing a whole lot more about Icy, Nurse Nichols, and Realtor Icy, whatever. I mean, and you might see a gray road glide go by you on the interstate. It just might be Nurse Nichols. Yo, it's your boy Retro, man. I'm gonna get out of here, man. I smell something in there cooking in the kitchen. My wife is awesome. Shout out to my wife Specs in the building. You already know what it is. Shout out to the Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry family. And with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna play these few announcements and get out of your way.
community that we have to take care of. We have kids that are depending on us. I call them my scholars, I call them my future leaders because that's what they are. And I let them know, don't forget about where you were raised, be proud of where you come from and give back. It seems more family in Riverview Gardens. It would just be wonderful to get some people to get some of those jobs and help us get these scholars where they need to be. There's a new view on the horizon where learning is required.
Y'all make sure y'all check out the Retro Philosophy Show on YouTube with my man Retro. Like, subscribe, comment, share, copy the link, put it on Instagram in your bio, put it on your Facebook page. Send it to your mama, text it to somebody. But y'all make sure y'all follow this page, Retro Philosophy.
Once again, we want to thank everybody for joining the Retro Philosophy Show on tonight. We hope that you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining. If you have not already, please go over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next broadcast. Keep it locked to the Retro Philosophy Show.